Tesla FSD in China. Welcome everybody. This is a very interesting part of the Tesla earnings call and what Elon had to say about the prospects of fully autonomous driving in China. First off, for some clarification, in China, Tesla cannot offer FSD beta in any ways. Currently, there are legal problems with that, and therefore Tesla drivers currently just have an autopilot that is, to be honest, not as good as what the Chinese competitors have, like XPeng, Li Auto, NIO, and so on, have far more advanced capabilities in China when it comes to functionalities like self-parking, like inner city, automated driving, and especially on highways. And Tesla is still selling well, despite the fact that these functions are not as good and on par as with competition. But let's have a look or listen to this piece and clip here, what Elon says about the prospects.
Then in China, which is a gigantic market, we do have some challenges because they currently allow us to transfer training video outside of China. And then the US government won't let us do training in China. So we're in a bit of a bind there. So but like a bit of a quandary. So what we're solving then is by literally looking at videos of streets in China that are available on the internet to understand and then feeding that into our video training so that publicly available video of street signs and traffic rules in China can be used for training, and then also putting it in we've got a very accurate simulator, and so it will train using sim for bus lanes in China. Like bus lanes in China, by the way, one of our the biggest challenges in making FSD work in China is the bus lanes are very complicated. And there's literally hours of the day that you're allowed to be there and not be there. And then if you accidentally go in that bus lane at the wrong time, you get an automatic ticket instantly. So it's kind of a big deal, bus lanes in China. So we have to put that into our simulator, train on that. The car has to know what time of day it is, read the sign. Anyway, we'll get this solved.
Now, first off, you hear Elon confirming what I said all of the time on social media, like on X or on previous videos, that I think it's unlikely that China will allow Tesla to send back footage from Tesla cars, analyzing them and training their AI models and neural nets based on that footage coming out of China. I think that's really unlikely, especially in this geopolitical situation, but also we have Chinese privacy and data law, which simply doesn't allow for that. So even if we didn't have all of those US-China tensions, I think that wouldn't be applicable. The alternative case, which Elon mentioned, were that Tesla can build it locally in China with a data center in China, but obviously then they would need to get, the NVIDIA chips and all of that. We know about this ongoing discussions. Seems like the US government, as he said, puts a brake on that. And maybe with the Trump administration that can change in the future. We'll see. But I always took those news in the past with a grain of salt when we had Elon traveling to China and suddenly we got all of these rumors about, oh yeah, now China will allow FSD in China. I think still, as of today, this is not much the case and not very likely. And it is, frankly, also one of the cards that China can play in a negotiation for a US-China deal, especially now with the Trump administration and Elon being the so-called vice president to Trump here. Now, let's get back into the technicals of this topic. Another thing that Elon says here is that what they do as a workaround, they do actually use public available data and feed that into their machine learning and the training. And with that, try to help Tesla cars in China understand the Chinese ecosystem and drive in China, maybe in the future with an update autonomously. Why I think that this doesn't make much sense is that, or if it makes sense, it would be even worse, is that because usually we have the assumption that Tesla has so many miles advantages against competitors, because only Tesla has a fleet of millions of vehicles on the road and billions of data collected, that others cannot replicate what they are doing, right? But Elon just mentioned he's simply taking public data in order to train the algorithms, which obviously, if that's public data of a bus driving somewhere or something found on the internet, it doesn't come from Tesla cameras, right? So anybody could take this video and train it and make FSD available. That doesn't sound really right to me, or if it's possible that way, what I really question, then it would destroy the data collected mode, right? Because anybody can get this public information and really make those FSD algorithms work. And so this is putting a question mark on something that I've questioned for quite a while, actually, in a sense that, first of all, is it possible to create also artificial and a synthetic type of data for the algorithms to trade on, right? You can use a computer in order to generate worlds. By the way, that's something that I said in my last video about the Neo World model possibly coming out, that is actually creating all of those 216 different cases in an instant and then making decisions based on that. So that's kind of a generative AI for FSD, creating different worlds that are artificial, but based on that, training and making decisions, right? So it's kind of that thing, but there are other ways also to generate data and help with that the training model is actually learning based on artificial data. And therefore, the whole question is this really a mode that you have real world data, when even Elon Musk now saying that they are taking public data from China? It's obviously supposed to be a challenge and such. But I found this piece really eye-opening because it's confirming some of my assumptions that I previously made. And I would say the summary here is that I find it far more likely, based on these comments, that a Chinese competitor will be able to catch up with anything that Tesla is doing on FSD development in the future. We've seen this DeepSeek moment with OpenAI, and I think somebody like NIO and Huawei, they can either work around also some of these sanctions and stuff when it comes to training compute. But, literally, if Tesla is experimenting with also ways of getting around their constraints in China, then why cannot the Chinese competitors get around the other constraints as well, such as maybe limited availability of real-world data? It doesn't make sense to me. I think we will see surprises coming from China on FSD development, and I don't see it being lacking to what Tesla's doing in the US. Thanks for watching.